Namaste, beautiful yogis. Welcome to Ali Kamanova Yoga. I'm Ali, and today I am coming on here to touch base with you, announce the new program, and talk about the current times a little bit. Nothing too much, nothing too deep right now. So I'm a couple days late announcing the program, but we're starting a new program on the membership. Some of the classes will end up here on YouTube, Tree Yoga, and it's going to be healing themes, a lot of core work, a lot of midsection, waistline, just feeling the body, healing the body work. Of course, they're gonna have a very healing intention setting and a healing theme. So I'm looking forward to that program. It's gonna be a little bit different from the previous few programs. I had coffee cups for 2 months, and actually I just finished shooting one of the tree yoga classes, and funny enough it was coffee tree, because it was a bit of a coffee cup, but also with a little bit of a healing intention, but it was a lot of twists and core. It was a very unique workout, yoga workout I should call it. There was a combination of moves that all targeted the midsection and the core, the waistline and the core, in a twisty, juicy, amazing way. So yes, join me on my website and on here for the tree yoga program. It's kind of a variation or a play on the roots yoga, or the same kind of approach where there is a healing theme. We're using the flower essences, the mythos, the folklore behind the tree. The flower essences generally have a very healing theme for the soul. So they access the soul or the deeper layers of the psyche and heal way deeper than the personality matrix. They go deeper. So that's why I'm enjoying, I'm looking forward to the tree yoga, because right now we all have to be in a very centered, calm, peaceful place, because the way a hijacking of reality happens is by, or the way your own life takes shape is through being centered and in your own higher or inner truth. And we're in a time on earth when the fear narrative is very loud, and it's not only a narrative for those, for example, who are into the mainstream, but it can get to anybody, because I almost spilled my tea. It can get to anyone that is in any way connected to or following what's going on in the world. It can be for the massive change that society is going through, which it is. It can be the dire predictions for the future and the resources, everything shifting, the system shifting in general. But I find that this times like this, a massive opportunity, a grand opportunity to really to shed the layers of the personality, and even the attachments on soul level that do not serve you, that you don't need in the longer span of your existence beyond this life on a soul level, because a lot of right now is about transcendence or stepping into a new paradigm. Uranus is really strong, and Uranus is very strong this year, with January 17th, February 17th, sorry, going to be the first Saturn Uranus square. So that square will color the entire year 2021, and we'll see a lot of that a play of patriarchal energy opposing or creating tension with that breaking through energy of the new Uranus is typically a revolution, but because it's in Taurus, there could be a revolution in monetary system, in finance, in earth, the way we connect to the earth, grow food. And of course, Uranus can have a dark and a light side, and I personally feel that we're going to see both. We're going to see, the push for more GMO and a new restrictive control way of growing food and controlling the food supply, but we're also gonna see kind of a revival of the age of Aquarius, the official start, or the more official and entry into the age of Aquarius, where we begin to reconnect in old but also renewed ways to the earth. And I think that Raise Yoga is perfect for this Uranus-Saturn square transit aspect. And you can also, if you're into astrology, of course, you can look into your chart and inside in your chart and see where it falls for you and what parts of your persona you're gonna have to shed. And speaking of parts of the persona, when we have a paradigm shift, usually a few people begin to see it, and it almost appears as, of course, they're crazy. And because when you shift from an old way of viewing reality, and reality is only a form of perception, and from the perception comes manifestation. So whatever we think we're seeing, that's what we're creating. We're manifesting what we perceive. Perception is only a level of frequency. So the frequency we resonate at, we perceive from that frequency reality, and that from that perception we create. It becomes a catch-22, a loop. And the first step in breaking the loop is something we did for years. It is gratitude, because it shifts the way you see the same thing you're looking at. You continue looking at the same thing, but through the prism of gratitude, things begin to shift, your frequency begins to raise, and then you begin to see it differently. And as you see it differently, reality is a mind space. It only exists within the mind field. We think because we can touch things, the grand illusion of reality is real, but real is something very, especially now with the paradigm shift, we're gonna begin to realize it more and more and see it more and more. So with yoga, we become very embodied. We become very aware of the self and very aware of the inner processes, and very in tune with how we perceive and process reality. So when we go through those paradigm shifts, when we go through a splitting of reality or a new timeline, we are or shedding of aspects of the old self, of the ego, of the attachments, of the program, we're very aware of the unconscious, and we're able to tap in, dive in, and begin to surrender and remove things that we no longer need. So it's very important to do yoga, to meditate, to go for walks in the sun, in nature, to put your butt, your feet on the ground, feel the earth, to hug a tree, literally, to just sit next to a tree, stand next to a tree, to be around trees, to eat really well, to avoid EMF frequencies. I always, when I go, and especially when I walk around towers, because on my path there is a big tower, I always wear my Aries stick. I have a video about it. I've been an associate with them for a year, and over a year at this point, and I just can't tell you enough how much I love them. But that is the personal EMF protection. There is one that is just a glow on the phone, on your own personal phone. That is more for personal one, but it has a radius. So if you're near people, it reduces the EMF pollution in a particular radius. On the website, go on the website, I will list it below, and you see there is a room one, a car one, a pet one, a cell phone one, and a personal one. So reducing EMF frequency, crystals, all of those things are really important in just staying grounded in your body, staying connected to the earth, and not getting frazzled in the energies, the electricity of the energy. And especially with Uranus, there is an electric element to Uranus, so we want to magnetize through the earth, through breathing, through awareness. So I think, yes, and in conclusion, I'll just say this, and I'll just finish with invitation to join me. But there will be a massive split. It's already happened. It has been happening for years, but it wasn't in your face. You could work with it, but now there is splitting humanity. We're beginning to operate from a different level of consciousness and perception of reality, and it's becoming such a massive split. It's surreal. It is absolutely surreal, but we're no longer almost in the same reality. We're no longer occupying the same reality. And that happens with a quantum leap, quantum jump. In a quantum reality, whatever you believe in, you manifest it. It becomes your reality. So if a freedom perception is your perception, you begin to manifest that. You begin to become resourceful, turn towards the earth, view health from the prism of connection to Mother Nature and to health-giving practices, things that are within your reach, within your toolbox. And the opposite, if a person believes in a fear-based reality, in victimhood, in everything is out to get you, things come from the outside, you don't have any control, only the experts have control, then that also manifests itself. So they're all real realities in the sense of reality being just a projection, reflection, perception. But the split is becoming more and more deep. And the way I see it is there will be these two currencies in society, and two waves in society. At some point, maybe there will be a crossover, and people would find ways to work with each other. And on a more quantum level, my teacher Pence, I don't know, but a lot of other people, Sarah Keller says it, a lot of people, Dolores Cannon say it, there will be a split in humanity. So people who want to stay in the old frequency of the earth, because we're crossing from the old frequency of the earth, Schumann resonance is raising, we're entering a different part of the galaxy, the galactic weather is changing, more photons are coming from the central sun, we're bathing in more light. Pam Gregory is great, always explains the neutrinos coming from the central sun. So she's an amazing astrologer, by the way. So when we look at the shift, and according to Bain Saduno, Steiner, Saura Kelly, a few other people always say it, Dolores Cannon, who I love, the split will be such that at some point, it could be 50 to 300 years down the line. Right now, we're starting the seedlings of new society that is not top-down authority, but it's a hierarchical, it's not hierarchical, sorry. It is a roundtable society, Aquarian style. So, obviously, a transition from an old system to a new system is a really dramatic process. It's almost like watching demolition, and at first you don't have anything new to lean on, you just have the destruction of the old. But we are the bridge generation that is building the new. So you have to envision it, stay in the vision, and really create what you want to create, because it's really here. It's in your vision, and a lot of us will come back maybe in future incarnations or in other ways to see what the seedling would blossom into, would turn into, if it's a tree, what kind of redwood tree it would be. But we're that bridge generation, and we're bridging that old reality to the new, and the frequency of the earth is raising. So the Schumann resonance is measurably raising. We are adjusting physically, our physical bodies, to a new frequency, and at some point the split would be such that it would not be a meeting ground there. So there would be a split in literally the reality. We're talking really down the line. For example, for us to even see the beginning of a new system, it will be years and years. And for us to even see a quantum shift physically, visibly, for example, in a quantum shift, we rely on something a little bit more or a lot more beyond the five senses. So because we have in our capacity so much more than five senses, but we're limited here within that frequency. So as we slowly rise, the paradigm shifts. It is a deep talk. I didn't mean to go down that route. But anyways, just something a little uplifting and something contemplative about the nature of what we're going through and how to navigate through it, which is staying centered, staying in your vision, staying connected to the earth, meeting your tribe in the next year to 8 years. Pluto enters Aquarius in 2023, so we are going to see a lot more of that Aquarian energy than 2024, sorry. And until then, maintaining the high frequency. So fear is no longer part of our paradigm. We surrender, we explore every single fear that we personally have or society has, and we dissolve it, Plutonian style. Everything has to be dissolved and in a way murder, just destroyed, so that we are free of that restriction, of that limitation, of that program, of that structure. And in a Plutonian style, whenever especially you have a Pluto a transit, a square to your own Pluto, so Pluto square Pluto, or a south node, or Pluto square other parts of your chart that are important. For everybody it's different how it's gonna feel, but it's such a massive soul shedding, so that we actually on a soul level become more liberated. So Pluto prepares one for the death through small death experiences, but also for beyond the death. So one eventually gets out of that cycle of samsara, or the cycle of suffering, or the when we are on an earth where there is very heavy gravity, karma is also very heavy, very hard to dissolve. And we're entering a time in earth, in Earth's age, where karma would be much easier to resolve, much faster. Everything will have more flow. Healing will be really fast. We'll create way more through our own creative center. We'll be able to manifest through that creativity. And obviously we'll connect on a soul level, on a soul tribe level, on a frequency level. And instantaneous healing is much more accessible to us now, relieving that victimhood program and that external program. A lot of those programs are external, unconscious program from painful childhood experiences and painful family unit experiences and so forth. So a lot of words I threw out because I try to keep the video under 20 minutes. I think I succeeded. I feel very regal with my cardigan. I just threw it on because I finished shooting a class, so I figured let me stay a little warm. It's really warm outside, but it's getting a little kind of less warm inside. Anyways, I'll return to my oolong pu'er, actually. I'll return to my pu'er tea. And thank you for being with me. Join me for tree yoga on my website. Mostly is where I share the most and I flow the most with what I have to share. I have most freedom to express myself, less restriction. On YouTube, sadly, I always feel very edited. If I know I'm shooting a class for YouTube, there is always this different feeling about it, because the censorship for me started really a long time ago, so it's nothing new, but there is this element of a broader community that is, there is a lot more freedom when we move into other platforms and when we move into other connections. But anyway, so mostly I'm on my website. I still always will share here or wherever else I move to new platforms, so stay connected. I write you a daily letter on Instagram. I always stream of consciousness, write something that I feel for the day. I'm a thinker, I'm a philosopher. a non-professional philosopher, but if you look at my astrology chart, I might as well be a professional astrologer because I have a very strong position for contemplating reality. So I write you my latest contemplations on Instagram every morning. I made it kind of an exercise to write every day, and it turned into just really write in a more written form through astrology prism, kind of my observation, mostly non-triggering subjects, mostly just about reality at the moment. And yeah, I mean, reality is shifting, and if you meet people that are no longer in your resonance, you're going to trigger them, because you, especially if we start talking about health, it's become such a split. And I do believe that whatever we believe, if we believe in the germ theory, there is a level of manifestation that happens through that belief. So the contagion theory. And then I've gone so deep with the terrain theory and then with quantum. And because it's very interesting, in quantum, we're in spirituality, we're all one. So in quantum, there is quantum entanglement, two particles. If you split something in two and you put it in separate areas, even you can split them on separate parts of the earth, even light years apart. If you do something to one, it's like you did something to the other two, because they're forever one, forever interconnected, and space doesn't matter. In a quantum universe, in a quantum reality, space is inexistent. So in the same way, when we get, for example, a viral update, and viruses can be, virus is kind of a broad term, RNA shedding from the system can be an update to the system towards a new glyphosate, new pollution, pesticide, electromagnetic frequency usually would cause flu-like symptoms, and so forth. So we don't need to sneeze on each other in order to get that update all across humanity. Sometimes a few people get the update and it just translates into the DNA, but sometimes everybody can get it from that quantum entanglement, also known as the theory of non-locality. Quantum, it's a quantum non-locality theory where space doesn't matter, things can happen, just things are interconnected, and the water element is all connected. It's connecting us all. The structured water within our body is connected to the structured water to every living being on the planet. So in that regard, I've stepped into really mind expanding areas of understanding health, understanding where humanity is going from here on. And because this is the beginning of the journey, it's quite new, and we have to surrender and fully trust. That's the theme: full surrender, full trust, no victimhood. That is completely a think of the past, no guilt. Surrendering to that inner faith and strength. And from there, we create beauty. We begin to create, and we become part of that new reality that we will be creating. I could speak a lot more with the subject of detox and viruses and all of that. It's really interesting because it is basically a quantum leap in understanding a lot of human health. I recommend Dr. Tom Cowan's channel on that. He's absolutely fantastic. He has been always out of the box doctor, but he's a Steiner scholar. He has a little bit of a quantum view of reality, or a lot, and he has had his own quantum leap, because within ourselves we also have particles that are kind of like light specks, and they can turn into any bacteria or any virus. And when there is pollution or toxicity in the body, we can generate that bacteria or that virus in order to for it to come and start the cleanup process. So it's like the firefighters on the spot of the fire, and they're the people that are fixing it, not the people that are causing it. So as long as we don't look at those things, we will never look at the real cause for disease, because we are avoiding the fact that there is so much pollution and toxicity, and we're acting like it will have no effect on human health. We're only concerned with what you can catch from other people, and that is a very medieval way of understanding reality. It's really interesting to observe it, to study it, and to begin to empower yourself with true health, true knowledge, and a forward view, Age of Aquarius view of health and humanity, and trust and faith, surrender. Because we are stepping into the new, and we're going to see a lot of the old being very controlling and very oppressive, and that will be part of what's to come too. So we have to really be prepared for that and view it with no emotion, without being triggered. Just observe how everything works and know where we're going, because you have to be unwavering in your direction. I would say faith, but then faith is a really hard one to always achieve. It has a religious connotation too, and it's beyond any religion. It's absolute connection to divine consciousness. So I think I throw in a lot here. I'll post a few resources down below. I'll post this below. I always have a coupon for it too that you can use along with the sales on the website. I usually, if there is a big sale, I'll announce it on my Instagram. I'll post the video of Tom Cowan that I really love, a few of them. I share them usually on Instagram, but I'll post it, or on Telegram. On Telegram I post some links. And I would say study, be in your own sovereignty and power and freedom, envision the new, trust, see the beauty that is unfolding ahead of us, and we have to be part of it. We will be part of seeing the old crumble, and also seeing the seedlings of the new. It will be quite a while before we see the fruits of the new, of course. Our generation might not quite see them, but it will be beautiful to be a part of creating them. And empower yourself through the connection to nature and earth, because true health is something that is beyond chemicals. And it's almost strange to say it, and for it to be a controversial thing, but it is. We live in a really strange, surreal time where the truth has become persecuted. It's a witch hunt. So I hope we had fun together, and I'll see you for more yoga. And if you want to learn, dive deep, because there's so much to learn, and I love learning. For me, this is where I really feel joy and ecstatic bliss. And especially if I break out of an old paradigm and I'm like, wow, I've been seeing this completely the wrong way, a completely different way, and now I see it in a brand new way. That just really gets the bliss element within my dot connecting mind. I love to connect dots. So yeah, if you want more astrology videos, or if you want certain contemplations, I'll list Pam Gregory below. I'll list a few resources for if you're interested in astrology, if you're interested in terrain theory. I'll list a few things below for your further research, but the video ended up being long because I went a little off subject. I hope it was enjoyable. Namaste.